What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to tackle the news of the developers talking about Elden Ring. So to catch people up, pretty much there was a three-person thread. One started it, the next responded, and these are three different developers from three different companies, and we'll list them off. And they had some stuff to talk about Elden Ring. Now, I have conflicting thoughts because I do maintain kind of like my freedom of like they're allowed to say whatever they want, but I also do think it's kind of petty, and so we'll explain the entire thing. So we got to break down who these people are and what they actually said. So let's jump over to the picture. So what we have here first is UX director at Ubisoft. Okay, that's the first guy. Ahmed, that's the first person, UX director at Ubisoft. The second one's name is Rebecca, and she works at Nix's. She's a software developer, and I think Nix's is a company owned by Sony. And then the third one is by Guerrilla Games quest designer, and I don't know if he's a lead or not, but his name's Blake, okay, and Guerrilla Games quest designer. And so let's read what they said. The fact that Elden Ring scored a 97 Metacritic is proof that reviewers don't give a flaming poop about game UX. My life is a lie. And then Rebecca says, nor PC graphics, stability, and performance, apparently. And then Blake says, nor quest design, really. Now, all right, so one thing to point out is that I believe two of these people, I think Blake and one other person, privated their Twitter after this. So they said something, it upset people. And by the way, I'm not saying attacks are okay, I'm not saying threatenings are okay, but like if you had a problem with it and you said, hey, I don't like what you said, or you're laughing at them and you're saying, you're kind of being, a little pathetic there, that kind of stuff, I think is fair game, considering they're in the public domain, that's in the public domain, and then to private their account is kind of, is not the greatest look of all time. But here's the deal. It's tough because I do want, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, I want to hold strong on, like, just because they're developers, they are also people. You know what I mean? So they are allowed to say whatever they want. Or have whatever opinions they want. So I agree with that, and that is what makes it tricky, because I want to say, well, I do think I would say the general gist of it is this. I don't really think you need developers attacking each other. When you're in, like, they are in a group. Obviously, each of the three of them literally have different jobs, and they're all at different companies, and Elden Ring is like a fourth one, you know what I mean? So there's like these three, and Elden Ring is something completely different. And while I do agree that they can have their opinions, and they can judge games and stuff, I just don't think, I think you're going to hear me say it's not a good look. That phrase, that's probably going to be said a lot in this video, because that's what I think. I just don't think you need this stuff happening, right? Now, I'm not saying like I'm the be-all, end-all, right? But I made a video a few days ago or a week ago on my main channel, right? Because I had seen on Twitter, and this is where this happened, funny enough, right? On Twitter, it's nothing but fanboys attacking each other. Elden Ring people attacking Horizon, and then Horizon attacking Elden. And it's nonsense, it's stupid, it's petty, it's all that stuff. And I said, like, please stop. Now, I'm talking to you guys. You guys aren't the problems here. I mean, we're just kind of discussing it for fun and amusement and entertainment. But I had said that, and it's like, when you have developers doing that only hurts, you know what I mean? Like, how can that make it any better? So you have these fans that are not really diving deep into like the actual mechanics. They're just attacking the other game solely out of like their own principles, right? And then it's like, please stop, okay? Please, for the love of God, just shut up. And can we not enjoy two games at once? Is that not? And I said that in that video. I'll say it here. I'll say it to these three developers. Are you not allowed to like more than one game? Like, is that not? You have to only like your own. And by the way, I don't believe that, right? That developers only say like the games they make. But this, to an untrained eye, makes it seem like that, doesn't it? At least that's my opinion. When you see one of the quest designers, okay, of Horizon, talk about how the quest design in this is not good, and Elden Ring is not good, you're again, if you don't like think it through, which you could say maybe that's the problem of the reader, but they would then say, oh my God, you're working on Horizon, so you must only like Horizon, and you hate all these other games. And it's not that much of an unfair argument to make, considering you did that to yourself. Do you know what I mean? Another thing to keep in mind is, like, what I will say this. The only thing I agree in this entire three-person thread is actually the middle one, Rebecca, in terms of like stability and frame rate and stuff. Yeah, Elden Ring has proven to have had issues. So I think that's actually reasonable, and that's actually a factual well, again, like all of them, I guess, are subjective. They're all just their opinions. But that one, the stability and stuff like that, I guess that's actually, you can prove that. You can show and say, no, look, Elden Ring doesn't hold up here. It doesn't do this all the way. Like, you can say that. So at the same time, though, right? So it's like she's pointing out something that is being said, but she's in the gaming industry, and it's like, well, I thought I was told this by Jason Schreier. I thought I was told this by everybody. You're not supposed to attack each other. You're supposed to be kind to each other. Again, it does enter that gray area where it's like, well, they're allowed to say whatever they want, and I don't want them to, like, hide their true feelings, but at the same time, like, they're all in the industry. It just doesn't... You're in an industry that... This could be controversial, like, is extremely fragile, right? There's a lot of, I'm not saying it's entirely or the majority, but there's a lot of fanboys of everything, of specific games, of specific developers, of specific console makers, like a Sony, Microsoft. Like, it's filled with these people, okay? Now, it's not the majority, but it is, I would argue, like a fragile thing where things upset people on both sides, or on any side. There could be 50 different sides, right? Things upset people very easily. And so, yeah, like, you can say stuff, but just know, like, you're gonna upset people. And when we're already, I think, again, like, the context matters, not their context, the context around them, where it's like these two games have already been inadvertently pitted against each other. Horizon, now I guess that's Blake's thing, right? Horizon and Elden Ring have been pitted against each other this entire time, not really at the fault of either of them, and they're not helping, or I guess specifically Blake in that example, but all three of them aren't helping, because it's like, well, now you're just acting like a fan, you know what I mean? And for the Ubisoft guy, and obviously this is where Reddit comes in, right? For the Ubisoft guy to talk about, like, what you, so he's talking about literally what you see on the screen, which I'll show the picture of the Reddit picture, right? Because somebody said, oh, here's what this game would be if it was a Ubisoft game, and it's like 5,000 things, on the screen. So I'll show it. It's very funny, and it's like, yeah, that one I just completely don't agree with him at all. Like him and even Blake. Now, here's the thing. I've been playing Horizon. Honestly, I think I've played Horizon a little bit more than Elden Ring. I've kind of gone, like, one day I'll play one, the other day I'll play the other. They're very equal almost in terms of hours spent. I think I have played Horizon more. I love both of them. I love so much. Do I love Horizon? Like, I want to give them that. I love Horizon. I love Horizon's quests. I love the depth of them now. Okay, I love how deep they are. I love that the side quests are basically main quests, right? Everything is so detailed. Everything has so much thought put in. Like, I would give them so much credit. But again, like, why are we saying that Elden Ring is different? I'm not saying it's better. I actually would say I do prefer Horizon. But am I saying that Elden Ring's quests suck? No, it's a different game. The structure of it is entirely different. The game doesn't, like, tell you anything. You figure it out. You walk yourself through these things. It doesn't remind you every 10 seconds of what, that's not a Horizon thing. That's other open world game stuff, right? Or quest games. It doesn't remind you every 10 seconds what you're supposed to be doing. It's different. You may not like it, that's okay, but to call it objectively bad is maybe, again, I don't want to say, like, that's wrong, because that's his opinion. He's allowed to his opinion. But, like, your own, you know what I mean? Especially him. So, like, Rebecca, I actually kind of agree. I just, maybe you don't say that out loud considering you're in the gaming industry, but I actually do kind of agree with Rebecca. The Ahmed stuff, that's laughable. That he works at Ubisoft. He's like one of the guys in charge of their horrible 5,000 things on the screen at once, and he has the guts to say that Elden Ring is bad in that regard. That is hilarious. I would say, in terms of, like, jealousy, I don't really buy that argument, except for maybe him, because it does seem, because he also mentions the Metacritic. Like, that's the difference between him and the other two, is that he mentions the Metacritic score, and it's like, all right, well, when you start to bring in that, and you start to say, like, well, reviewers don't know this or that, or this thing versus that thing, you're starting to sound very jealous that maybe your games have not been scored so well and then their game has, which you cannot like that. But when you are in his position, like when you're a senior or a lead and you start saying stuff like that, again, just not, what's the phrase? It literally is not a good look, okay? And then the Blake stuff, I think that's very subjective, his comments, and incredibly subjective. But it also, again, his problem, or the problem I have with him is, well, again, I believe he's one that privated his account. That's a very, kind of scared act kind of thing. I just don't respect that about it. And also, he should know along with everybody who works in Guerrilla Games. Truly, they should. That there is like this online warfare going on between these two games that are not the fault of the developers. And you know what I would say to that? Stay out of it. Stay out of it, because when you have a developer from a game that's inadvertently, sure, but it's been pitted against another game online, and then when you have a developer trash talking, I know it's light, it is light, this is not saying Elden Ring is garbage, but it is like a low blow kind of thing that you probably shouldn't do. When you have one of the developers of the one doing it to the other already in this war that's happening, that's a very bad look. I just don't understand why you do it. So again, I think privating the account is probably a good example, because you can't, there's only like one, this is the one picture. These three talking is the only thing that's out there. They removed their accounts, right? So you can't see that they've done this if you go to their account. So they're hiding, and they probably were talked to by Ubisoft, by Sony, right? And saying, shut up. Like that's, and again, it's tough because I do want them to have opinions. I don't want developers that are just, they just, I don't know, they can't say literally anything out of line. They're just slaves to like the master, like the big corporations, and they, they follow a script. And in fact, I've said it before, right? Like when I talked to Troy of Hogwarts Legacy, I loved talking to him because he doesn't have like, oh, here's a bulletin. I'm only allowed to say these 6 things, and you can't ask me anything else, and I can't talk for myself because Sony won't let me. And Sony is a company, by the way, that does that with people that work for them. They're incredibly strict in terms of what they're allowed to say. I don't really like interview, or I would never want to really interview people like that. So I do want people that are kind of free thinkers and are able to say their mind, but I don't know. Do you have to do it like this? I don't necessarily know if that's the case. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. By the way, let me say this before I finish edit here, right? I love both. So don't say, oh, he's defending Elden Ring, he must hate Horizon. No, Horizon's my game of the year. In fact, I said that on Twitter. I actually like Horizon more, so just in case anybody spins that the wrong way, pretty hard to do. Let me know what you think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on so you know when these videos go up, and I hope to see you all on tomorrow's video.